Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Truth Uncensored, the podcast where bold conversations meet Christ-centered truth. I'm your host, Josh Cook, and boy, have we got a great show for you tonight. Before we begin tonight's episode, I want to take a moment to speak directly to you. My name is Josh Cook, and this is the first official episode of Truth Uncensored. I created this podcast because I believe we are living in one of the most important and defining periods in modern history. Truth Uncensored exists to have real and honest conversations that matter. My mission is to pursue truth wherever it leads, to have meaningful conversations, and to create something that challenges people to think deeper. This podcast is rooted in Christian faith because truth ultimately comes from God, our Creator, and this is only the beginning. Welcome to the first episode of Truth Uncensored. Today I am joined by one of my good friends, Connor Outing. Welcome to Truth Uncensored.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
All right. So first off, before we actually get into the actual discussion and interview, since the audience obviously does not know who you are, I just want you to take a minute to explain who you are, what your background is, what your religion is, and what your current view on politics is.
So let me start here. I guess I'm a freshman student here at ORU. And I've been raised in a Christian household my entire life. I've been raised in church, been raised Pentecostal. So I believe in speaking in tongues, hand clapping, foot stomping, the whole thing. So current view on politics, my entire view is to have a leader who is Christ-centered and whose values is Christ-centered based off of the Bible and is not anything that is against it.
Awesome. So do you believe that the current president of the United States is doing that?
In some ways he is, in some ways he's not. I mean, like, for instance, he is trying to get men out of girls' restrooms and, girls out of men's restrooms,
Absolutely.
Which is important because transgenderism is wrong.
Yep, absolutely. We can agree there. Okay, so I'm going to start, before we actually get into the deeper questions, I'm just going to ask you a series of yes or no questions. So for each of these, just answer yes or no.
All right.
Do you currently trust the government?
Yes.
Do you trust mainstream media?
No.
Do you think America is heading in the right direction currently?
No.
Do you think social media manipulates people politically?
Yes.
Do you think free speech is currently under threat?
No.
Do you think young people are more political now than 100 years ago?
No.
Do you think the average person is well informed politically?
No.
And do you enjoy discussing politics?
No.
Okay, so we've got a few things. The first thing that I want to discuss is the current state America is. So obviously I already asked you if you thought America is heading in the right direction politically currently, and you said no. What do you think the biggest problem facing our country is right now?
LGBTQ, point blank.
Okay.
Because our world is just full of that. I mean, the marches around, people marching around talking about we support gays, and it's not right. And then we got pastors now who's supporting it in their churches. You even have gay churches.
You got pride flags outside the churches. Yeah. All right. So what concerns you the most about the future of the country?
I'm concerned that what happens in the future is that what ends up happening is that everybody, including Christians, support gays. Because it's already starting to happen, but when it becomes a normal thing where at every church you start seeing this, oh, the pastor's gay. Oh, and it's not a first lady, it's a first man.
Like it's not normal. Like it leads people away from normality.
I'm thinking there's this evil spirit that is being introduced into our world now.
Absolutely, I completely agree.
Not right.
Yeah, okay. So do you feel optimistic or pessimistic about the future as it leads right now?
I am optimistic because at least with prayer and the more that we can minister to people, the more change can be brought out.
Absolutely. So moving into media. So obviously we've got your opinion on what the current state of America is. I asked you if you trusted mainstream media and you said no. So where do you personally get your news and information like that from?
Usually I do watch, news channels and stuff, but I always go online and try and back it up because people say the wrong things and people like to assume things based off of little clips that people post out, like on Instagram, Facebook, on your mainstream platforms. And it's not right because they have to watch the full thing to get the full context of things.
And I think that's great. How do you ultimately determine what's true and what isn't?
There's usually things that line up with scripture and just things. There's a lot of things you can tell that things that are right, you can tell seems right, and when it seems right from like a worldly sense, but then I also back that up further with the word,
Hmm.
and when both those line up, then that's when I know it's true.
Absolutely. So, do you think that the media influences people's beliefs other than politics, like such as religion and spirituality, or do you think not?
Yeah, because they use any technique they can to bring their point across.
Absolutely.
Anything.
Yeah. Do you think that people live in information bubbles where they're constantly in an echo chamber of just constantly receiving one side of things, or do you think that most people are like well-rounded in the media that they receive?
I think that kind of depends on how well immersed they are in platforms because if they're always just surrounding themselves by these little 10-second clips and then their information is, then all they're gonna think about are those clips. But if they actually spend time watching full sermons, full clips, full speeches, then they would be informed. So I guess it just depends on how immersed they are.
All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you, like I said, I'm going to show you a couple of really popular 10-second clips that are circulating the internet currently and kind of defining people's image of certain people. And I want to get your opinion on the 10-second clip, like what your reaction would be if you just saw that 10-second clip. And then I'm going to show you the full clip and we'll get your reaction to that. So this first clip I'm going to show you is from a very controversial figure of our time and is currently receiving a lot of backlash and hate online for what they claim as racism, misogyny, anti-Semitism. Do you know who Nick Fuentes is? Are you aware of who he is?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a clip of him that's been circulating the internet. Again, it's one of those 10-second clips. You don't see the full clips. I'm going to show you the 10-second clip, and I just want to get your opinion real quick based on just what he says in this 10-second clip.
All we're asking the GOP to do is what it promised its voters it would do. It's not my fault you didn't hold up your end of the bargain. But that's the thing. They think I am doing this to them. They think I am doing this to America. I'm not doing that. You did it to yourself. You promised to release the Epstein files, then you covered them up. I didn't do that. I didn't create that problem for you. You promised mass deportations, then you refused to do job site raids because big business didn't want it. You did that, not me. You promised to cut $2 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse. Then you packed it up after 3 months. I didn't do that. Okay?
All right, so what's your initial reaction to that clip? Obviously, he's talking to Trump and the Republican Party and criticizing them for not doing what they ran on their campaign to do, such as releasing the Epstein files, mass deportation, stuff like that.
Yeah, all I can get from it is, according to him, is they haven't held up their word.
And do you think that's true?
In some instances, yeah, but some instances, no. Like in regards to mass deportation, I know Trump's been trying to do things to get the wrong stuff out of this country and the wrong and good stuff in, but like in regards to mass, I haven't seen anything where it's a mass.
And I was gonna say that's another thing. Like obviously we're gonna get into immigration. That's one of our topics later. But before we get into that, since you brought up him doing that, are you aware of what's been going on in Minneapolis?
Mm-mm.
So it's all the people that are raiding and doing the ICE protests, and that's where like what happened to like the Renee Good, Alex Preddy, the shootings. So Trump said he was going to send ICE to more places in addition to Minneapolis, but Trump recently pulled ICE out of Minneapolis. He pulled ICE and the National Guard out of there, which basically means that the
shootings.
Which basically means that the rioters win so what do you think of him pulling ICE out of Minneapolis?
It's crazy because if there's mass shootings,
not mass shooting. Like, so are you aware of the two main ICE shootings?
I do recall one of them.
You probably Renee Good,
Yeah,
the woman. Yeah.
Renee Good,
So,
yeah.
well, we can get into that later, but that's just something to think about. Like, I still support Trump. I'm still glad I voted for him, but I'm beginning to be spectacle of like, make sure you're like doing what you ran on your campaign to do.
Yeah, because he made all of these promises in his speech, and when you make a promise and you are a leader of that kind of stature, we look up to you. So it's your responsibility to hold up to your word, because if you don't, then how can we trust you? That means that we can't trust you, that we voted for the wrong person.
Exactly. So
Even though I still would rather him over Kamala Harris.
oh,
But that's just,
absolutely, yeah.
that's just a
That's
fact.
just a given, yeah. All right, so now we're gonna get into young people because obviously our generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, we are the future of America. We are the future of this country. So, do you think that young people are becoming more political in this day and age or less political?
Um, Again, I guess it depends because every young person is raised in like a different way, and I think when you're raised a certain way, that kind of forms your like viewpoints on
Absolutely.
things. And I know that's what happened to me, and that's why I support Trump.
Yeah.
You know, about that because the way that I was raised and brought up in my household, it just
Yeah.
you
Do
know.
do you think that if you were raised in a different household, if you were raised in a non-Christian liberal household, do you think that you would still have the beliefs that you have right now, or would you have
No.
opposite?
I would probably support LGBTQ. I probably would also be in some march. We support gays. We support gays. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
No. Absolutely.
Yeah. I probably would have been doing that, but it's just a blessing to not have been raised in that and
Yeah.
have been raised in a Christian household in a biblically sound environment.
Absolutely. So, do you think that young people should be getting more into politics, or do you think they should not be?
Um, I think they should because if we get the right group of young people into it, then we can start seeing some change happen. But then at the same time, we can also get the wrong group of young people, and then we see some foolishness.
Yep.
So again, that comes around how it comes back to how you are raised. Because if you're raised in the right environment and bring those values into what you plan on doing, then we should see some good stuff come out of it.
Absolutely.
You know.
So you mentioned at the beginning when I asked you what you think like the biggest threat to America is right now, and you said LGBTQ. Why is that?
Because it's so rampant. I mean, we see it on TV. Every movie we watch, always some gay man. Some says, "Oh, introduce you my new boyfriend or girl. This is my girlfriend Sally." Like, what kind of foolishness is this? I mean, in the Bible, God made Adam. No, not Adam for Adam, but Eve for Adam. He didn't make a Steve for
He
Adam.
didn't make Adam and Steve. Yeah, that's true. So I agree.
It's like,
I agree with you in that sense. But on the other side of that, so if you flip the coin, obviously the majority of streaming services and media, Warner Brothers, Paramount, HBO, these are not Christian run companies and studios. So do you think that like as a Christian,
you don't
obviously
necessarily have to be a Christian to not support it. You know?
So we believe it's wrong. But do you think that since a lot of those studios and these places are being run by people that believe this, do you think that they should have equal representation in film, or do you think not?
I think they should. If they feel like they should support it, they should, but don't show it.
Exactly. So
Because you can still support it, but not show it in your films. And I feel like they're going overboard, especially in Marvel now, because Marvel is one of the world's most popular platforms.
Yep.
We love watching Avengers, seeing Captain America throw his shield and stuff, but now all we're seeing now is gay scenes in Eternals, Thor, Love and Thunder. That's why I didn't even watch that. I've heard about all the craziness. And then in Wakanda Forever, the one soldier had a wife in Africa, and culturally that's inaccurate because in Africa, it's illegal to be gay.
Yeah.
So how does she have a wife? So like they're inaccurate in culture. So like.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So you think that the idea can be in the movie, but you don't think that they should show it on screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think if somebody feels like they just have to support it, but don't put it on your platform but see that's what Satan wants, because Satan wants this to be normalized.
Yep.
That's
absolutely.
why what we need is the right group of young people to talk him down and say, Satan, get thee behind us, and we don't want none of your influence in this world, and
Amen.
put more of the word into it.
Absolutely. So, what's the main role that you think young people have in shaping the future of this country?
They can shape it. I mean, there can be so many roles, but if I miss one, I think the right social media influencer should do it, because since that's like one of the world's biggest platforms to influence people, like I think that should work. And I mean, we already have some people who are doing that.
Yeah.
And I think the more we do that, the more goodness we can bring out of things.
So specifically, so obviously we've been talking a lot about like the negative side of things. So like what would you say is something in the world that gives you hope for the future right now?
I mean, just the rise of young people going to church, because I can't remember that there's some stats. There's a lot of young people going to like church now. So
Yep,
there's more
Gen
and more.
Z,
So there's more hope.
Gen Z is the most church going and Bible reading generation.
So there's to be some more hope for some good pastors and good Christian leaders, which could really help to bring the message of Christ further into this world to wash out this foolishness
Absolutely.
that people have put into it.
Absolutely. Now we're going to move into the next topic. The next topic, we kind of already touched on this a little bit, but that is the topic of immigration. So what are your general thoughts on immigration in this country?
I mean, I have no problem if somebody from overseas want to come to our country, come on in, but do it correctly. I mean, don't come in, don't try to be like, okay, I'm about to tiptoe my way. We will welcome you with open arms if you just do the process right. Because I know a lot of people come out from their country due to some kind of problem. And I know especially some people in Africa too, because in Africa, because it's illegal to be gay, there are some gay men who come to our country because they know that this is a free country and you're allowed to be gay in this country.
Yeah.
So they come over, but then you have people who do it wrongly, and next thing you know, they get upset when like Trump says bye and kicks them off the country. It's not their fault. It's not his fault. You're the one doing it the wrong way.
Absolutely. So what? So then that brings you like, what's your stance on ICE? What do you think of ICE?
I think it's important, but I don't think they should be doing crazy stuff. I mean, in terms of people coming in, and ICE, ICE can do what they do, but I feel like they do too much. I mean, guns, shields,
I mean, well, since the majority of illegal immigrants that come into this country are criminals of some sort, rapists, murderers, like, don't you think they should have guns and shields?
Yeah, but they use it too much because unless if they're attacking you, I think they should be armed just like your regular cop is. Your regular cop has a gun on him, and like a taser. But it's why it's useful mainly for self-defense. And
absolutely.
And if they put their hands on them, by all means, bang, 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 shoot them up.
That brings me. So a lot of people, you'll hear a lot of people on the liberal left side being critical of ICE in the Renee Good and Alex Preddy shootings. Obviously, there's a reason ICE has been cleared in both shootings, but I just want to shed some light on that in case you didn't know. So Renee Good, I'm not sure if ICE had stopped her or if they had stopped somebody else, but she literally tried to run over the ICE officer with her car. She hit him with her car.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
that was stupid.
And people are like, well, he could have stopped her. If somebody's going to try and run over an armed officer with their car.
That's a stupid comment, because if you got a man in the street and you got a woman in her car driving, there ain't no way to be like, stop.
So wouldn't you say that somebody trying to run you over with their car is acceptable use of deadly force?
Yeah, because because like, especially if you see me and you speed up trying to attack them, you're using force to try and kill somebody.
Absolutely.
But then again, like if they would have stopped when they would have stopped her instead of instantly shooting her, I guess.
Well, they tried to. I was saying this is an ongoing thing. I'm saying at the very end, she didn't get shot until she ran him over with her car.
Yeah. So that's wrong. That is wrong.
Yeah, and then the second one, Alex Preddy, what happened with his shooting is ICE was detaining a woman. They were already having, it's kind of like you always hear the phrase, don't interfere with a police stop or police investigation.
Yeah.
So they were already detaining this woman and having a confrontation with her. Alex Preddy didn't think they were treating the woman right and didn't think it was going well. So he comes over behind the ICE officer armed with a loaded firearm on his hip. So he ends up getting shot. And people are like, well, he has his free right to carry a gun. If you're
okay, yeah, he has free right. But again, you're not supposed to interfere with somebody detaining somebody.
With a loaded gun.
That's just stupid.
Exactly.
You see him detaining somebody, you're giving them every reason to shoot you.
Exactly.
You know how many black men get in trouble for that because they think, well, I have the right to carry my gun. You ain't allowed to carry. Yeah, you can carry your gun, but there's a certain way you got to carry yourself. That's why almost a lot of time when they assume stuff, you're not giving them a choice but to assume.
So that's one of the other things I wanted to discuss, because obviously you and me both have different lived experiences and we both have different perspectives on the world. So obviously, well, we haven't lived two different lives, but obviously I'm white. you're black. So we've lived two different lives racially. So I want to get your perspective because I've talked to a lot of people about this. I've talked to liberals and conservatives. So as a black man in the United States of America, do you believe that white privilege and white supremacy exists in this country?
In some circles of white folks, but then in also some circles of white folks, it don't.
I'm talking about in general. So in general,
no.
Is there anything that I can do as a white man that you cannot do as a black man in this country?
No.
Exactly.
Because times have changed, but like a lot of people's viewpoints are still the same, especially a lot of old white folks.
Absolutely.
Because they remember their time where little black boys was not allowed to sit next to them in class.
Absolutely. So now a lot of people are complaining about white privilege and white supremacy, and they're also complaining about mass incarceration. So what's your opinion on mass incarceration?
Mass incarceration, okay, number one, the death penalty is needed.
Absolutely.
When extremely dangerous criminals are out and about, you need something to stop them. And they find ways out of jail. I mean, there's a show me and my mom watched recently called 60 Days In.
Yep.
They find ways there are jailers that have found ways to escape, and you have dirty cops that help them.
Yep.
So imagine you got this crazy killer that goes around killing everybody, raping people. Every bad crime you can think of, he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's around, and then he escapes, and then they arrest something, but then he escapes prison. What's that going to do? That's going to kill everybody. But imagine, if you have a lot of people doing that, and all they're doing is locking them up, what? All they can do is just escape again and wreak more havoc.
Absolutely.
So by having the death penalty, it helps to take it away, although it's terrible to take a life.
All right. So moving back into our main topic, which is immigration. What do you think? What would you? So I'm going to ask you. I'm going to get your answer. Then I'm going to give you my answer. We can have a discussion. But what would be your solution to the huge immigration problem in this country? What would be your ideal solution to it?
If I'm right, do they have ICE stations like in certain spots where people come in at?
ICE is at the border.
So
yes.
They need to, whatever this looks like in their system, they need to find out some way of being able to identify was this person a criminal from their country.
So you think that each person but see, hold on,
each person. I don't care if you a mother and child. Check to see if the mother is
exactly.
Right.
So that's true. So the people that come into this country legally do that. They have to pass a background check and all this stuff. We're talking about people that are coming in illegally, because some people so basically some people, mainly liberals, but I've met a few conservatives that have this opinion as well. Some of them say that we should only deport the illegal immigrants who have committed crimes either outside or inside the country. They're saying that it doesn't matter if you're illegal, that if you're here working a job and making a life, you should be allowed to stay.
No, I hate to say it. If you are illegal, you are not welcome. I'm sorry.
I'm with you.
Because you are already breaking the law.
You're already breaking the law.
Yep. You are already a criminal. When you come here illegally, you're not coming here with the certain processes that make you allowed to be in this country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you don't want to be an American, don't come here.
Exactly.
Don't come here. What's the point of coming here if you don't want to be an American? Because if you're coming illegally, then you don't truly want to be American. People who go through the process, they actually want to be free. They
Absolutely.
want freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom. Those who come illegally, just think they can do whatever they want. But at the end of the day, the hammer has got to fall.
Absolutely. So I would say my solution, this is that we need to seal the border. We need to close the entire border off. Nobody comes in or out, and no more illegal immigration no more immigration at all, whether it's legal or illegal, can happen until we get all the illegals out. And once we're back at square zero, where there's just Americans here, then we can start allowing legal immigrants back in.
I think that's a fair idea. Although, a lot of people would probably have a lot of stuff to say against that.
Absolutely.
But then again, that's the world that we are living in.
And that's the point of this podcast, is to foster uncensored discussion about these things. So that way, people that listen to us discuss this, they can have discussions of their own, and we can be, because honestly, the reason this podcast exists, I'm gonna keep saying this because this is the first episode, but my goal is, ultimately, I would love it if everybody believed in Jesus Christ and believed the same way as me. But ultimately, my goal is we live in such a censored world. We live in a world that wants to control everything that's said on social media and how we use our for free speech. The whole purpose of this podcast is to have free, uncensored discussions about any topics with any guests, and then people that listen to it, well, whether they agree or not, it'll sponsor them to have discussions of their own. We want you to discuss your beliefs openly with other people and not stay bottled up shut. Because when all of us stay quiet, that's when the government gains control of everything. That's would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So now, one of the final topics that we're going to discuss is the topic of free speech. So, do you think that people can currently freely express their beliefs in whatever way that they want without the fear of being censored?
Yeah, but in reality, people will receive it in any kind of way. But it's their choice of what they get to say, because we have made that right for everybody to say what they want.
So I agree with that is a right. Are you aware that social media platforms such as Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram are currently blocking accounts and banning videos? So, for instance, Nick Fuentes, that guy I showed you the video of earlier, he's banned off of every single social media platform besides X. They call him a violent extremist. White.
Man, that's because they don't like what he's saying.
Exactly.
Because people, when they see somebody who is saying uncensored truth, people, like uncensored truth, they get all upset because they don't feel good. Number one, truth ain't supposed to feel good.
Exactly.
Truth is
The
supposed
truth
to
hurts.
hurt. Because if the truth ain't hurting, that means you ain't receiving it. If it's actually hurting you, then
Yeah, so
you already know.
He's been labeled as a racist, a misogynist, anti-Semitic, white supremacist.
Yeah.
And I did an experiment, actually. There are like hundreds of his fans that make fan accounts for him to repost his videos since he got banned. I made a fan account on TikTok for him. First video that I posted on there got banned, and they sent me an email saying, we don't allow videos of violent extremists calling for violence in the country.
Man, that's just because they don't like that. YouTube, and I bet y'all can hear me, but I'm sorry. If y'all don't like it, okay. But he has the right to say what he wants to and what he feels like. He is a grown man.
Exactly. And would you say that
he's not a child?
Would you say he's a violent extremist terrorist that wants to
he uses strong language to prove its point.
Exactly. And would you say that's a bad thing?
That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing.
All right. Have you ever felt hesitant to say something publicly because of backlash or what people will think of you for saying it?
I mean, always. Everybody gets self-conscious about certain things. Like, there's certain posts that I may say, that I made, certain clips that I made. I'm like, I may not say it. I may not say it. But then there are things I'm like, you know what? I'm going to say it because the world needs to hear this.
Exactly.
And I'm like, let me stop getting stuck in myself and stop trying to put the coat sugar on what I'm saying. Because that's what pastors do now and preachers do now. It is why folks don't really receive the fullness of what God has for them, because they think that they got to be all nicey nice. When in reality, you wouldn't have liked Jesus when he preached. When Jesus preached, I bet you he didn't censor anything.
Nope, he did not.
I bet you one thing, he did not censor one kind of picking thing.
Nope, he did not. And there's evidence of that in the Bible, but we'll get into that later. So, last question on free speech: why does free speech matter?
Because it allows people to express their viewpoints, their beliefs, and their opinions on things
without fear of backlash.
Without fear, and I think that has its uses, and I think people also abuse that when they say the wrong things. And then it hurts folks, because then folks actually can think that what they're saying is true because they be so passionate about it. Because emotion is a powerful tool.
Absolutely.
It's a powerful tool.
Yeah. So, okay. So, this last thing is a fun thing that we're going to do. So remember at the beginning, I asked you a bunch of rapid fire yes or no questions.
Yeah.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to list off some people. So I'm going to say a name of a person, and I want you, if you could just use one word. So like the first word that comes to your mind, or whatever one word that you want to pick to associate with that person. So I'm just going to say a name, and I want you to say one word or the first thing that comes to your mind to describe that person. Mm-hmm. So Donald Trump.
Amazing.
Joe Biden.
Trash. Absolutely trash.
Kamala Harris.
She's just stupid. Stupid.
Elon Musk.
Rich.
Nick Fuentes.
Amazing.
Andrew Tate.
Okay.
Barack Obama.
Now that's a hard one. See, only thing that I like about him is that he was the first African American president. But other than that, what did he do? So, okay, I'll give him an okay.
All right. Michelle Obama.
Wrote some good books. So I'll give her a good.
All right. And the last one, Jesus.
Absolutely amazing, the Lord of my life, and the most amazing man than anybody in this world.
Amen, brother. All right. Before we wrap up, are there any final thoughts that you would like have on what we've discussed, and anything that you want to leave with the viewers?
First things first, y'all. When you ever watch a clip on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or X or Twitter, make sure you get the full information, because you want to learn the truth. Back it up, because people lie, and that's mainly because the evil entity that's over this world is Satan, and in the Bible they call him the father of lies.
Absolutely. And then lastly, if all this were to go away, if you were to die on your drive home today, and this was the last thing anybody heard you say, what's one message? If you could only leave the world with one message, what would that message be?
To receive Jesus. Receive Jesus. Call him the Lord of your life, and get your house in order, because he's coming one day.
Amen. Connor, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time and your perspective, and I hope we can do this again sometime.
Yes, that was fun.
All right. If this episode challenged you, encouraged you, or helped you think differently, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a review, and share this with someone that you think needs to hear it. Remember, truth matters, discipline matters, faith matters, and your life has a purpose. Don't settle for lies when you were created for truth. I'm Josh Cook, and this is Truth Uncensored. We'll see you in the next episode.